Right. I think I'm just going to slowly get started since it is 11. We do have a pretty full agenda today. As you can see, we have two speakers with us. We have both Jonas Kassan from Rhenus and Thomas Höfler from Editel with us, who will be diving into their use cases on the eCMR, their experiences, their implementation, insights, everything along those lines. So we have a very full agenda, so I'll get right into it. Thank you all very much for joining us to Spotlight Session, Making OLF-eCMR Work in Practice. My name is Danielle Bannerman. I am a Communications and Marketing Manager at the Open Logistics Foundation. And I'm super happy that you all have chosen to join us today, taking the time out of your day to learn more about the OLF-eCMR. So just to repeat what I had said earlier, today I am with two representatives from a couple of our member companies at the Open Logistics Foundation. Again, Jonas Kassan from Rhenus Logistics and Thomas Höfler from Editel. And our goal in the session is to share insights into the real-world implementation of the open source eCMR components that we've created with OLF-eCMR. And to share how these were implemented into our member companies' own solutions. So we're going to learn about their journey to using these components, the benefits of using them, and how they're working for the companies using them. Both Jonas and Thomas will present their use cases and also share a quick demo of their eCMRs in action on their platforms. So thank you very much, both of you, for being here with me today. And I think we can get right into it then. So just a bit of an overview of the order of today's session. You will first hear from me with a quick introduction into the Open Logistics Foundation and OLF-eCMR. We will then move into the use cases, first from Jonas and then from Thomas. And last, we will complete the session with a live Q&A. With the Q&A, please feel free to send in your questions as they come to you. We likely will not get to them until the end of the session when we do have the Q&A, but of course, always better to send them when you have them fresh in your mind. So please feel free to fill up the chat as we go. All right, perfect. So let's start with a quick introduction of the Open Logistics Foundation. So here's a quick about us. Back in 2021, the Open Logistics Foundation was established by our 5 founding members. And those founding members are DAXA, Fraunhofer IML, Rhenus Logistics, Duisport, and DB Schenker. At that time, the logistics industry was facing challenges of siloed digital solutions across companies in the logistics industry. And these siloed solutions were missing some of the core needs for the companies, such as interoperability, standardization. So the goal of our 5 founders was to fix this issue of siloed solutions across the industry and kind of create something that works for the entire industry. And that, of course, is open source and available freely to our community and everyone outside of the community as well in the industry. So for this, they created a neutral nonprofit space where companies can collaborate on the things that don't differentiate them, so the commodities within the logistics industry. So today, we have more than 50 members and network partners as part of the foundation. Some of them are competitors, which is very fun atmosphere to have because we're working together to solve these issues despite their competition. And we are working together in this ecosystem to build and jointly implement open source solutions that benefit the entire industry. So our goal with the Open Logistics Foundation is to create something that is accessible across the industry, not just another siloed solution. So of course, we use open source to achieve this, and open source grants us the ability to create these solutions for the industry and create them so that they're open, freely available, and easy to implement in different ecosystems. So the value is significant and clear, as you can see from these numbers. 96% of all software contains open source components, and companies would have to invest 3.5 times more in development without them. So these numbers really show that open source is an ideal tool for collaboration. And of course, the experience from our members will demonstrate this, as you will hear from Jonas and Thomas today. All right, and in addition to our focus on creating open source solutions, we also focus on building our community where cooperation is encouraged and not avoided. So competitors, companies from across the logistics industry come together as part of the Open Logistics Foundation to collaborate where possible at the commodity level. And of course, then compete and use their resources where it matters the most. And that means with the features in their companies that are differentiating in the market. So yeah, we work together to develop solutions at the commodity level that are the foundation of our complex supply chain. And that's really what our goal at the Open Logistics Foundation is. So just to give a quick introduction into the OLF-eCMR, we started with the question of digital transport documents. There's these documents that are have a lot of issues underlying them. So they have broken paper processes, they are high costing, they increase errors because they are typically paper-based documents. So how could we digitalize these documents? And the OLF-eCMR became a solution for that. So it replaces the paper with shared digital formats, which reduces manual effort, costs, errors, and enables data to flow across the systems. And we gain with that real-time data availability, it's interoperable, and it's legally compliant. So with this, it is our first documents that we are digitalizing, and we are going to be moving into even more in the future. And this is becoming the foundation for those future digital documents that we are working on as part of working group ETD, electronic transport documents. And here's just a rundown of what makes OLF-eCMR special. So it's open and free, so anyone can use it. It's collaboratively developed with many partners, so it works across the industry. You can really see that with the diversity within our membership. It's ready to implement because it was tested in real projects, as you can already see today with the use cases that we will be presenting. And it is continuously evolving through feedback from the community. And you can see our community here. The working group electronic transport documents is joint work of 25 plus companies, very diverse companies across logistics, across IT sectors, and they're working together to really develop the OLF-eCMR, develop future transport documents, and continue to make it better, make it work for more companies, make it become a de facto standard within the industry because it's working across the entire industry. All right, and before we transfer into the use cases, I just want to share last time's spotlight session, so the spotlight session before this one, with Jens Leveling, our technology advisor at the Open Logistics Foundation. We really dove into the OLF-eCMR in a technical sense. So going into the components, going into the eSeal signature, for example. And we were also joined by Dr. David Save, our legal product owner, who dove into some of the more legal questions around it. So, for example, with FT or with the Spanish GCA. So I encourage you, if you haven't yet, to give that a look. You can watch the full session after this session so that you can gain some more technical insights into the OLF-eCMR. All right, and that was my very quick introduction. But as I said, we have a very full agenda today, so I want to switch over to Jonas, who will dive into his use case with Rhenus. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Danielle. Yeah, maybe quickly to me or to myself, Jonas Kassan, working for Rhenus since now 6 years and being part of the electronic transport document working group since 4 years, whenever it started, put it this way. So from the right beginning, being also the co-lead of the group and yeah, representing Rhenus and also not only Rhenus, but basically the whole group now also here today, and want to show you what we have done so far. But first of all, I would like to give you a short insight why the eCMR and why do we see the eCMR in Rhenus to be used. We're going to have a dive into the use cases, and diving into these use cases, I've just brought 3 or 4 use cases today. We're going to have a look into the use cases, and we're going to see these use cases also live in the eCMR application. And last but not least, I would like to give you a short insight into the interfaces we have so far, how the eCMR application is now architecture-wise implemented already in our IT application landscape. eCMR and Rhenus, basically, when we started thinking about implementing the eCMR, and when we had the first thoughts about this, we were making up our minds, why does the eCMR basically make sense for us, or where does it make sense, and why do we see any kind of potential in the eCMR? First of all, one of the main points is the minimization of administrative effort that we have. Meaning, nowadays we're talking about paper-based document, the CMR in general. Each and every CMR that is issued, you at least have 4 papers in hand that somehow need to accompany the transport, or stay at the sender side, need to be sent back, and so on and so forth. So you have not only the paper which is printed, which is used, but you also have a lot of physical work around this, administrative work around it. Talking about archiving, I remember back in the days when I was apprenticeship a forwarding agent, going down to the basement, looking for a CMR which was stored 8 years ago in some of the files, wherever to find it, impossible. Nowadays, much easier with the eCMR, and you still do, or you simply do not have this physical storage anymore. You're getting rid of this. Then in general, reduction of the administrative work. What happens with the paper CMRs today? We're printing them. We scan them. We take a picture. We're sending it back and forth via email, WhatsApp, whatever, and trying somehow to digitalize this paper that we are using, whilst we have already something in place, or whilst there's an option to have this completely digitalized and getting rid of all these side quests, I would call them, that we have here with the paper CMR. Then next thing, we have a much faster data processing. What means when we have a digital document, we have all data available immediately. We do not need to wait until someone is responding, is answering our phone calls, sending us a picture via WhatsApp, and so on and so forth. So we have original documents immediately by hand. We have immediately all the information that we need. And we are able to start processes that need to be done after the transport has been closed. For instance, if we're talking about directly billing, some customers, they want to have the PUD. They want to have the PUD probably also in original form, so that you have to wait for the paper CMR to be sent to you, or need to receive a picture in order to start the billing process. And with the data being available immediately, having the eCMR available at any time, and you see immediately on the eCMR any kind of status updates. So when the CMR or the eCMR has gained the last signature from the consignee, then it's clear that this eCMR is finished, the goods are delivered, and you can simply start the billing process in any kind of direction, either towards the customer, but also if you need to the subcontractor. And you are minimizing this minimizing this administrative effort here, that you need to ask for the status. Where is the truck? Where's the driver? Can you send me this? Can you send me that? And so on. Last but not least, digital availability. Today with the papers, where we have the paper CMRs, we have data on the paper CMRs, but this data is not digital available. Even if you take a photo or if we transfer this as a PDF, this data is not available. With this now, having the eCMR, we are much faster in reacting on audits, checking for CMRs when we have audits, instead of going into the basement, trying to find the file. We can integrate additional logistics processes if necessary. So also here you can trigger the processes after the transport easily, or even in beforehand processes that are before the eCMR starts. Reporting capabilities for sure here also, as you have the data available, much easier. And when we're talking about the availability in general, you have it much faster by hand. You do not run into danger that the driver forgets the paper and needs to come back, or I mean, it doesn't happen probably very often, but it happens that the availability of the paper is not given and you suffer to have this paper available. Last but not least, that is also what we're working on right now, that we want to link this CMR to other digital transport documents that there might be, for instance, the e-delivery note, which is on focus for the ETD group at the moment, so that we have other documents also linked and that we are able to combine them in one digital transport document or in one digital transport folder. What is the current situation or current usage within Rhenus, and how do we plan to go further? What are the next steps? Currently, the eCMR is implemented in some selected countries at the moment. For some specific flows, so far since go live, we have processed over 2,000 eCMRs. For the moment, we have connected already several transport management systems, and the plan is thinking about the DCA requirements in Spain, that the control document in Spain needs to be digitalized by the 5th of October this year. We are planning to expand the whole eCMR basically to all our Spanish flows, so all flows to Spain, but also in Spain or out of Spain, that each and every flow that we have here is accompanied with the eCMR, and with this we are meeting then the DCA requirements, which means here also that we need to onboard much more transport management systems. We have a variety of transport management systems within Rhenus, and this is what we are planning for. To give you a few numbers at the moment, or basically this is I think from last week I took the numbers. We have 250 tickets developed so far, but we have still 50 tickets in pipeline. And here we realized, since we are going into the rollout to the Spanish flows, and we're getting more and more people using the eCMR, that much more tickets come in. And luckily, at the moment, we have 13 developers working on the eCMR. So we have in the past much more tickets which came up, but also we gained much more developers here, which are working on the eCMR solution, on the open source solution. So everything that is developed is then also for sure available open source. Why do we make it open source? Basically what Danielle said already before, we see as Rhenus, we see a big potential for not only us, but for the whole industry, that we are generating kind of a standard or kind of a free available software which is everyone able to use, and that we by this are much better interoperable in general. So that not everyone is looking for his own solution, or you're looking for a solution on the market, but even the solutions that are on the market are part of the working group. So that we are also able to work with them interoperable with the solution that we do have, that we are creating here, and that we are not having a standalone solution or need to somehow complicated connect to other solutions. Why an open source community? In general, you have with the open source community, you have the big advantage that it's much easier to develop. You have probably companies which have focus areas where they say, yeah, it's better for us here looking into the user interfaces. Others probably looked into this e-seal, e-signature things. It makes it much easier also here to spread the workload across the community. Now I would like to I feel like I'm rushing through. Sorry for this, but I would like to get into the use cases and show you how it looks in the application in general. Starting with a very simple use case at the very beginning. This was the one which we firstly focused on, so that we have the international transport only Rhenus internally, means we're starting on a Rhenus branch on a Rhenus site and we are ending on the Rhenus site on a Rhenus branch, but the carrier in between is in an external carrier, so we have an external driver. Quickly sharing the other screen. I hope you can see the screen. Maybe just some feedback. Yeah, perfect, very good. So you see here I've created an eCMR already. Prepared this. This is an eCMR going from Dortmund, or from Holzwickede in this case, from our headquarters to Barcelona. And no signature so far. We have a carrier on this, which is an external one. And I'm just going to quickly sign this. So you see here, if I'm on this in this overview, I can quickly go on the sign eCMR. I'm directly on the bottom of the eCMR here to sign as a sender. Maybe just as a quick note, here you can see I'm still able to change each and every field here. This will change after the first signature, so that it's not possible to change any kind of the fields. He's asking me, are you really want to sign this? And it's done. You see the fields are grayed out. I'm not able to change anything anymore as the sender. And the eCMR is saved, signed. I see the status has changed for loading. What we do in the background is here also, we're now mentioning already interfaces. We're sending back a status to the Rhenus track and trace already that notifies then us that this truck has been loaded. Now I have the driver in front of me, standing in front of me, and I want to share this eCMR with the driver so that he's able to take over and also sign the eCMR. We have two options. I would go just like to go just through this option here. We have the external sharing here. This is the case, or the thought case here behind is that you have someone in the warehouse who has a tablet with him, or any kind of a mobile device, who has a tablet and is able to process on the tablet basically the eCMR. So now the driver is standing in front of me. I want to hand over the eCMR. I need to put him his details, his name, his phone, and the company he's working for. And then I simply click on register. What happens now in the background, the driver receives on the registered phone number, he receives 10 SMS. And this 10 now needs to be entered here. Just received it on my phone. Needs to be entered here, and by entering this 10 and clicking on authenticate, the driver gets access on the tablet to the CMR. He's now able to check everything what he wants to check. You see also here we have grayed out fields, simple as the fact that the driver is not allowed to change now anything here on these fields. He has some fields, the carrier reservations, which are open. For instance, here you can mark that one pallet is damaged, just to register this. And if you click on you see here on the bottom, once again, signature of the carrier. Once again here, if you are on top, you click on sign, you are directed immediately to the end of the eCMR. You can click on sign, I accept it, and now you see that the driver has also here signed the eCMR. Now, as I said, the use case is that this eCMR started at Rhenus Holzwickede and is going to end in Barcelona. I want to show you how it looks when someone, or what needs to be done then if someone from Barcelona now needs to receive it. What I need to do is Maybe let me just quickly switch back to the overview here. Again, back now in the overview of the Rhenus co-worker. The truck is on its way to Barcelona, and I need to share this now to the Barcelona branch. What I simply do is here, I choose the group I want to share with, and here I'm typing in Barcelona, meaning that the groups here representing our branches, you can even go down to department level or sub-department level, whatever you need. Click on share. And before I do this now, I would like to show you the other overview. So just to make it clear here, the same instance, working on the same eCMR application instance. Here you see there is no, I hope this still works, yeah. There's no eCMR so far. And if I click on share here and right now, on this new screen, you should see now, hopefully, coming up an eCMR, or it does not. Guys, I know that the developers are doing something in the background, but I hope they did not crash the presentation now. They do. Okay, that's a pity. They crashed it already. Seems to. Let me check it once again. We're working on the test instance right now. That's probably the reason. Yeah, seems to be. Sorry for that. When I tried it before, but here it is. That's strange. It's not in the overview, but I can see it here. Yeah. Okay, this is a different overview, but you can see it here. I received it. It is here, the eCMR. I received it. This is exactly the eCMR which we have just signed. And now I would be, if I have it here in the overview, just give me a second. Maybe this one helps. No. I would be able now also to sign it here. I can click on the into the eCMR and then simply just sign it here via, and that's a big point, only via sign on glass. Also here accept it, and then it's done. Want to quickly jump back to the presentation. Danielle, do you need to share the presentation once again now?
One moment. One moment, and then you can take it over again. All right, you can take over again. Swap to the right slide.
Yeah, perfect. So we have done basically use case one. Due to the time, and I see that I'm stealing time from Thomas, which I do not want to. Quickly, also guiding you through or showing you the use case two that was prepared. I had prepared is then basically that we have the sender as Rhenus, the carrier is going to be external, the process will be the same, and then we have the external consignee. Basically here also looks more or less the same. The external consignee, if they have their own instance running, they will receive the eCMR on their instance and then they are able to proceed. What we're working on at the moment is that we have the transport folder. So in case that we have multiple transports, multiple shipments on one truck, that we are able to combine them in the transport folder so that we have multiple CMRs in the transport folder, which then are easily can be easily accessed by the carrier, but also by the sender or the consignee if in case they have multiple eCMRs. But in general, the idea was to make it much easier for the carrier, for the driver, have them all in one transport folder, and then being able to process them. And the last use case, which is under construction at the moment, that we have an issuer at the very beginning, which then here could be probably the forwarding agency like Rhenus, and we are forwarding the eCMR to the original sender, so that we are really just issuing the eCMR and the sender is able then to start the process of the eCMR. Quickly going into the interfaces. So far, what we have connected to the backend of the eCMR application, or what kind of interface possibilities we have is that you can directly connect your company user management. You can connect your transport management systems via API. We have an email service, so we are also able to connect via SMTP. This is important for especially when we have external users. So the external users or the external parties will receive immediately an email with the eCMR once the eCMR is finished. As said, the document archive. So we have also here already connected the Rhenus archive via API to the eCMR. So every time an eCMR is finished, it gets transferred to the archive and can be found on the archive. And you have databases can also be connected. The backend is then connected via API to the eCMR frontend or eCMR instances, external instances. What we have so far connected on the eCMR application in Rhenus, you see here. So we have transport management systems connected, which are able to send something to the eCMR applications. We have the archive connected. We have the mail service connected in order to send out emails to external ones. The Rhenus Active Directory is connected, as said before, the Rhenus track and trace. So we are sending back the informations already, the status informations back to the Rhenus track and trace. And also we have the SMS service connected as I just showed in order to send the TANs out. Quickly now, I'll run through. If you have any questions, I mean, we have time afterwards, but you can also always reach out to me. And with this, I would hand over to Thomas.
Thank you so much, Jonas. Danielle, I guess it's my turn, if that works for you. Thanks so much.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Thanks so much. So to start off, let me introduce myself. My name is Thomas Höfler. I'm working here in Vienna at this company called Editel as a product owner, product manager. And one of the topics I'm working on is our product called Freight Logs that implements the OLF open source implementation and is dealing with freight documents. So since I'm not from a logistics giant like Rhenus, let me lose a few words about the company I'm working in Editel. Editel basically has a focus on EDI topics. So this company has been on the market for the last 40 years. Our core business, as I said, is EDI. Integrations and an EDI platform that we call Excite. Around 50,000 customers are transferring 1 billion messages, so to speak, per year over this EDI platform. Other topics that we are working on is e-invoicing, for instance, but none of those topics is something that I'm working on. I'm working on the topic of the freight documents, which is kind of the newest addition to Editel's product portfolio. We have in Austria, not in Austria, we have in Europe 12 subsidiaries, and the headquarter is here in Vienna, where I'm based. Now, to get to the topic of CMR and eCMR, I remember back when we started off with this topic in 2022. I do have a history in logistics. I do have a history as a product owner, so the topic of CMR was not new to me. And when we first came to the topic, my initial thought was, okay, it's a form. I can see it. It's quite a big number of data, but it's a form. So basically, I guess that will be a quick win. We will just write a CRUD system, create, read, update, delete. We will deal somehow with sharing an eCMR, and that would be it. Boy, was I wrong. The complexity really lies within different perspectives. First of all, it really hit me when I reviewed the UN CFACT data model that is just a monster and way too big, in my opinion, to be used in the daily business. doing talks with different customers and partners of ours, it was quite obvious that we see many different stakeholders with many different pains and needs that sometime also collide with each other, and we see a quite fragmented process with many different roles and stakeholders, as I said. The trust factor and data security, those are topics that also weigh very heavy, and it's a huge burden or a huge challenge to get everyone's perspective on in the boat when you first start off with a topic like this. And then, of course, the legal requirements.
I think we lost Thomas, or
yes,
Okay.
sorry, that was my bad, I guess. I'm back. So yeah, where was I? The legal requirements. So as I said, it's a very legal heavy topic, and I'm very happy that we have David as a legal product owner on board. He's really combining the legal, the profound knowledge that we need, and also very pragmatic. He's also very pragmatic type, so that we, at the end of the day, can come to a solution that is also applicable in the real world. And down the road, and as I said, I've been in logistics for around 15 years, and I've been dealing with a lot of projects that's main focus is to integrate different proprietary solutions, silo solutions, and so on and so on. And yeah, at the end of the day, if you ask me, that's not something that really brings us value. It just makes sure that things somehow work. You need to put in So that was our starting point, and then fortunately we came to the Open Logistics Foundation quite soon. Let me share my perspective with you why the OLF matters and why a membership in the Open Logistics Foundation is so valuable to us. So what we are doing in the OLF working group, we are turning market perspectives, different perspectives, into a shared foundation. And the first thing that I would like to point out, and Danielle already mentioned it in the introduction, is that we see quite a heterogeneous group of members in the working group. We see a lot of big players in the logistics sector, but we also see quite a lot of IT service providers like ourselves. And let me take the opportunity to really say thank you to all the members, because I feel that the way of work is very respectful, transparent, and constructive. And it's really new to me for quite a while now, but it was new to me that also competitors talk in a very transparent and constructive way with each other. So yeah, that's a big plus in my point of view. Then in the working group, we got a real we got a real good insight into the different perspectives from the different roles, and that was also very valuable and saved us a lot of time and wrong directions, so to speak. Data security and trust was a topic that was, beside all the transparent communication, also was discussed in with a very high priority. And again, the integration effort that all the members wanted to prevent themselves from. And last but not least, as I said, the legal compliance while being applicable in the real world. And those are typically two topics that really collide with each other. Now, a bit of a deep dive into the legal topic, because in my point of view, that was one of the biggest breakthroughs, so to speak, in terms of what the working group came up with, apart from the actual implementation, but concept-wise, was the signature. Because when we first, screened the eCMR protocol, all the requirements that we need to meet in order to have a legally compliant signature, I had no idea how to implement this while being usable, also in best case, also usable in the spot market in the real world. So we see these tight legal requirements, which basically translates to an advanced signature, and we need to provide, but still we need to provide proper user experience also for non-tech savvy users or for first-time users. And the breakthrough, and Jonas already mentioned this and showcased it to you, was the e-seal. It's basically an advanced signature for legal entities. And one of the huge benefits in my point of view is that it also can be automated, or at least partly automated. So an e-seal could also be triggered by an API call, for instance. Now, that's basically the situation that we have seen from a legal point of view, from a market point of view, and all the benefits that we got from and still get from our membership in the Open Logistics Foundation. And now I would like to present to you very briefly our interpretation or our approach to a solution that really generates value to our customers from our IT service provider point of view. So we derived a couple of principles that we really try to stick to. The first principle, of course, is we want to have a legally compliant solution in place, and we want a solution in place that is really reliable from a process point of view as well. We want to have a focused solution. So you will not find features in our solution that play in context of transport monitoring or transport organization. We are looking for customers and partners that invested a lot of time and money into those systems, into those processes, and are basically happy with them. And our approach is to deliver a quite minimalistic product that is able to seamlessly integrate into those existing systems. So if you remember the interface slide from Jonas, that's what we want to do with each and every customer of ours. And in order to do so, we need to have a certain level of flexibility in place, of course, while maintaining the standardization that we need to have in order to be legally compliant and be usable by the other parties as well. We also, and I mentioned this, want to be very easy to use. Our highest goal is to be applicable on the spot market for first-time users, for drivers who have never used our system in the past, and no preparation needed. That's our highest goal. And at the end of the day, and Jonas also mentioned this, we want to unlock further automation potential. So we really want to consult our customers, go with them through the processes that somehow rely on the CMR or other transport documents, and think about how to further automate them and give them the tools in their hands to automate processes outside of the core eCMR process. So that's that. And now I would like to walk you through very briefly through our solution. To do so, I would like to do the screen sharing. There we go. You should see my screen now. So basically what you see here is the, let me get back one step. That's the overview of our solution. In the web UI, the solution is available in 14, at the end of the week, 16 languages. We, in this case, have filtered to the transports that are due today. And of course, we have some, filter mechanics and little stuff like this. But our highest goal basically is that our customers do not navigate in this web UI ever. So we really want to find a way with our customers to have our solution integrated via API, so that the eCMR in best case vanishes for them, and no person needs to interact with the eCMR or do so in a very minimalistic level. Now, if I jump into the detailed view, it's you might recognize the view is quite different from what Jonas presented to us, but the underlying mechanics, the data model and the signature methods, they are similar, or better to speak, the same. So in this case, I prepared an eCMR with the eSeal signature method for the first two signatures and sign on glass for the third one, just like Jonas did. In this case, we have a transport from Vienna, from our company, to the Open Logistics Foundation, and Danielle is already waiting for the goods. In this case, we already have knowledge of who is the carrier, who will be responsible for the transport itself. We do have the license plate of the trucks that will arrive, and in our example, let's say that our customer, in this case Editel, created the eCMR, and another customer and a partner of ours, LKW Walter, they enriched this existing eCMR with additional data like the carrier and the license plates. What we do not have at this point of time is any information on the driver. We don't know his name, we don't know the phone number. What we also see is that we have additional documents in here. We see a packing list and some safety handling instructions that we also added via the API. Now, if the loading process is done, me as the sender, as the consigner, I can start the signature process by clicking this button, Confirm Pickup. I get here reminded what transport I'm currently working on, just to rule out some mistakes. Then I have here the option to do some adaptations on the goods information again, and with a click of a button, Confirm and Seal, the first signature is already applied. And again, please remind yourself that this action can be done via API as well. Now we have the question, how do we get the driver on board? We don't know his name, we don't know his phone number. In this case, and in our scenario, we can invite him via a QR code. So you see now on the right side of the screen my smartphone. That's the driver's perspective. In order to get him started, I'm just starting my camera. I scan this QR code here, and it brings me to the login page of our web application. Here I can then input my phone number and click this button, Request Code. We send out a second SMS in the background with a 6-digit security code that I can take into the web application with a click of a button, and this button says allow, by the way. So now I'm logged in. I have no app download, I have no registration. That's doable in my point of view. I'm here then asked to give some additional information. So I'm stating here my name. I can review the information on my employer, on the carrier once again. And after confirming this, it brings me to the next screen. And just like with Jonas' solution, you see here that the information on the actual goods is no longer editable, because we already have had a signature on this eCMR. So I can here confirm this eCMR, and that's that. We now have two signatures on this eCMR, and if I go into the eCMR, I also have the option to add a comment. I can also add a photo, let's see, of the goods safety that I did quite well. I can do a quick comment. I'm going to show you later why I did that in German. And I can also, of course, download and share the documents that we see in this eCMR. That would be the eCMR itself, of course, but also the other attached documents, in our case, the packing list and the safety handling instructions. I can either download or share those documents individually or all in total. Now, to come to the end of our presentation and of our demo, let's collect the third and final signature. I do this by clicking this button, Start Unloading. So that's one of the options that we see for the third signature. We now collect a sign-on glass signature of the delivery place with the driver's phone. So we collect the POD with the driver's phone. If I click this button, I'm getting reminded that I now need to hand over the phone to the guys at the delivery place. After confirming this, spoiler, we pull the GPS position in the background to enrich the sign-on glass signature with some metadata. Danielle, I'm gonna forge your signature here, if you allow. And after confirming this, we now see the eCMR in the completed state. And in the background, in the backend, we can of course do whatever is beneficial to the customer. We can upload it to an archiving system. We can set the state of a TMS system. We can trigger the payment to the transport service provider, just like Jonas described it. And yeah, so that's where we put a lot of focus on. Now, coming back to the perspective of the sender, no surprises here. It's completed, and if we take a quick look at the documents that we see, of course all the 3 signatures that are here. We see the so-called appendix, so a complete change history of all the changes that happened within the process of the eCMR, and the other documents that are attached to our eCMR. We also see the pictures that got taken in a higher resolution, and we can translate the comments that were done. So that's basically it. Danielle, would you be so kind to take back the screen sharing, please? Thank you so much. All right, we need to do. Okay, let me jump to the correct position again. So that's that for the demo. Thank you very much for for your time and for your interest. Oh my God, that's a lot of slides. But just one more second. Okay. Oh wow. Okay, yeah, we've been here and
You're almost there.
yes, almost there. Thanks for your patience. Yeah, we are. Okay. And to finish this off, just a quick outlook that Jonas also did. So the next thing that we are planning to do, or very, very soon, we are planning to implement the interoperability, on which Jens and his team are working on. We are really looking forward to this. We want also to implement a method to confirm, I'm not saying sign, but to confirm additional transport documents, the attached transport documents from the driver's perspective. We want to integrate the delivery note that our working group is working on at the moment. Further integrations with yard management providers, TMS providers, whatever brings value to the customer. We have an AI agent that helps our customers to create an eCMR even without an API integration. We want to improve that AI agent as well. We are already in contact with the Austrian ministry that is responsible for FT, so we want to be an FT provider in the near future. And we also want to integrate WhatsApp in addition to SMS in the near future. So that's basically it from my side. And to finish it off, just allow me to say thank you for being a part of the Open Logistics Foundation and being a part of the working group. Thank you very much.
Thank you both so much. That was a super well-rounded, I think, view of the work that we've been doing as part of the working group. So we really appreciate you guys both sharing that. Steve, I see your question right now. Yes, we will share the session both in video form, and we will also share the PDF of the slide deck, so you get everything with it, and we'll probably send that out tomorrow. Super quickly, because I really want to get to any questions that are in the chat. We have a slide here in the slide deck where you can access the repository of the eCMR, of the OLF-eCMR. That is, again, freely available, open source, in the repository for anyone to access. And alongside that, we also have the license available to kind of give you an overview of how you can use the OLF-eCMR. And again, on the next slide, we also have a couple links. Thank you, Annika, for sending those in the chat. We have a link to the Working Group Electronic Transport Documents webpage, so you can get some more information about who's working on it, how we work on all of that. And the last link here is our join page. So Jonas and Thomas both talked about being a member of the Open Logistics Foundation through their companies. And we really appreciate those insights. And of course, if you guys are interested as well, the join page is there. Our contact is up on that page. So please get in contact with us. We can chat about what that looks like for you. And lastly, we have a second spotlight session coming up next week. So this one is with Ingo Müller and Violetta Matsoros. They will be talking about iLeap. So that is another working group or another project that we are working on regarding emissions data exchange. So they will be talking about that. Violetta from the point of view of the Smart Freight Center, who is developing the iLeap protocol, and then Ingo as an implementer through DAXA. So we very much look forward to that. And if you're interested, please register. All right, so we want to get into the Q&A. I see that we already have a few questions in there. Let's see. And first of all, thank you, Jens, in the background for answering that first technical legal question that came through on the seal. Rudolph would be interested to know how long it took to integrate the eCMR solution into internal IT infrastructure, TMS, archives, etc. Whomever, Jonas or Thomas, can take that.
Jonas, okay for you if I answer that? Or
yeah,
try,
please.
or try
because I'm probably not able to answer this, as we've worked from the very beginning on the solution, and we step by step implemented it into our internal IT infrastructure. So I'm happy if you answer it. Yeah, please.
I see. Thank you. So, Rudolf, to be honest with you, we get this question a lot, but unfortunately, there's no definitive answer, because it really depends on the system landscape that you have in place and also the integration depth that you want to achieve. But to talk about to answer this in the most minimalistic way, with our product, for instance, you could use the AI agent that you can use a delivery node or some kind of data set that is able to be interpreted by our API agent. So the integration effort to create an eCMR is basically zero or next to zero. The data flow back to your system, it really depends on what you want. So do you want to be notified in your TMS when the loading is done and so on? It really depends, but bottom line, if you want a minimalistic solution, for instance, to be compliant with DCA, that can be done within a couple of days, basically. But please, yeah, it's not a definitive answer. It really depends on your situation and your requirements.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Do you want us anything to add there from your perspective, or as you said?
In general, if you building up the eCMR solution, the eCMR instance in your own IT, it will take you a bit time to set up the instance, that's for sure. And then basically what Thomas said, it absolutely depends on how your internal IT is structured at the moment, the capabilities the internal IT has. Are they able to provide APIs or communicate via API? Do we need to, or do you need to switch to different messaging formats and so on and so forth? So it very much depends. To give a rough estimation, it could take up to 4 weeks or from 4 weeks up to 4 months, depending on what needs to be done. I can give you one insight. So we connected one of our transport management systems, and we have quite a good record on this, or I know the number from top of my head, that it took roughly 60 hours of developers' time to connect to the eCMR API.
Great. Thank you for that insight. We have time for one more question, I think, from Jean Mario. He would like to ask how you manage the driver signature process during the delivery phase when the receiver wants to insert remarks or reservations and sign, because, as he says, in this case, it is necessary to track the interaction with the counterparts. Again, whomever can take that.
In the, Thomas, maybe I go first. In the eCMR solution of the Open Logistics Foundation, the consignee definitely has a space reserved for any kind of remarks. So if there are any remarks on the CMR or on the goods which are documented on the CMR, then they are able to register this on the consignee remarks, and this is then also available and visible for each and everyone. And after the remarks have been done, he's able to then still to sign the eCMR, so it's everything tracked and so that the consignee is able to make any kind of remarks he needs to do or he wants to do.
Okay, perfect. I think we are all out of time, unfortunately. Patrick, I see your question. I will make sure that you get a response to that, but I do want to make sure that everyone can get off to their individual meetings following this. So thank you all so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Thank you to Thomas and Jonas for also joining us and sharing their insights. It was super insightful for me as well. So thank you very much. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you guys at the next session as well. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.